There is a kind of fear that no movie can simulate. It is the kind that crawls under your skin because somebody real went through it, and they are still here to describe the smell in the air, the exact sound of the floorboard, the face in the dark. Tonight, you will hear 8 true stories from survivors. Some learned the thing in the night was human. Some are still not sure. What they all share is this: instincts matter, tiny details matter, and sometimes the only difference between a headline and a memory is one decision in 1 second. Take a breath. Turn on a light if you need to. Here we go. The attic footsteps. For months the family blamed each other. Snacks vanished. Milk levels were lower than anyone remembered pouring. Someone would leave the living room, return 5 minutes later, and find the TV volume subtly higher. The parents assumed their teenage son was playing games. He thought they were messing with him. Then came the footsteps. They lived in a compact, older house with an attic hatch just inside the hallway closet. Late at night, with the air unit off, they could hear it: a slow, deliberate shift of weight over the ceiling. A step, a pause, another step. The father grabbed a broom handle and banged on the plaster. Silence. Then, as if satisfied it would be safe later, the footsteps resumed at 3 a.m. Everyone became jumpy. The dog refused to go near the hallway. And one Friday, the son came home early from school with a pounding headache. The house should have been empty, but the bathroom light was on. He stepped inside and found something that finally snapped the spell of denial: little smears of toothpaste around the sink, a damp towel, and a drip pattern that ran in the wrong direction, up toward the ceiling hatch. He called his mother. She called the police. They insisted it was likely a raccoon. She insisted it was not. Officers arrived, popped the hatch, and pulled down the ladder. Dust floated in the beam of a flashlight like snow. At first, it looked empty. Then the officers swung the light left and everyone stopped breathing. A nest. Piles of thin blankets arranged over flattened insulation. A cracked plastic cup. A notebook. Empty food wrappers. And in one awful detail that still makes the mother's voice shake when she tells the story, the nest had a view through a small cutout in the attic floor directly into the daughter's bedroom. They found the man an hour later, wedged behind a chimney, trembling. He had been slipping in at night through an unlocked side door, climbing to the attic, and living in the house above the family for weeks, maybe months. True horror is not always a shadow with glowing eyes. Sometimes it is a quiet, desperate person whose presence turns your home into a stage set, and you were the one who never knew there was an audience. The family changed every lock, installed cameras, and moved within a month. The daughter sleeps with a fan on now to drown out imagined footsteps. If you ask her what she learned, she will tell you, curiosity is not paranoia when something is wrong. The body knows. Listen to it. The night drive and the truck with no face. A young couple was cutting across the plains to save time. Their GPS routed them onto a thin county road at 1:30 a.m., where the world looked like one continuous field. No houses, no lights besides their own beams, and the stitched blinking of red towers miles away. They noticed the truck in their rearview when it appeared without warning, so closed the grill, filled the mirror. No headlights, only the cold reflection of their brake lights on chrome. The driver tapped the brakes twice, a polite "back off" sign. The truck stayed pinned to their bumper. Then, just as suddenly, it faded away, falling back into the dark. They exhaled. 2 minutes later it roared up again, now with headlights on, high beams slicing the interior of their car, illuminating the tiny dust dances in the cabin. The couple argued about pulling over. The shoulder was narrow. There was nowhere safe to stop. The truck fell back, then surged forward again. The third time, it drifted beside them in the oncoming lane, pacing them at 58 miles per hour. The boyfriend saw no face behind the wheel, just the outline of a cap. The girlfriend stared straight ahead and whispered the kind of prayer people invent on the spot. The road curved. The truck cut them off, slowed, forced them almost to a crawl. The girlfriend reached for her phone, but there was no signal. She typed anyway, as if the act alone could call help closer. Finally, ahead a green glow, a highway on ramp. The boyfriend stamped the gas and shot around the truck. The moment they hit the ramp, the truck peeled away and vanished down a gravel spur. 20 minutes later, at a gas station, the couple told their story to a bored clerk who said very calmly, "Do not go back that way at night." He would not say why. He would not look them in the eyes when he handed back their card. There is a reality to threat that the nervous system recognizes before the mind wants to admit it. That night, the couple chose motion over pride, a ramp over a confrontation on a black road in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes survival is not winning. It is refusing to play. The girl in the closet with the phone at 2%, a college freshman, came home to her off-campus apartment earlier than planned. Her roommates were at a party across town. She kicked off her shoes, reheated soup, and scrolled in silence. It felt good to be alone. At 10:42 p.m., someone jiggled the front doorknob. She froze. There was a soft scrape as if a key tried the lock. Then, quiet. She texted the group chat. No one answered. Music emojis. Earlier. Now nothing. She walked to the peephole and saw the worst thing she could have seen: nobody. The hallway looked empty, but she could hear breathing through the door. She backed away, hands shaking, and her phone chimed that smug, final sound, 2% battery. She thought of the back bedroom closet. It had a false wall, a leftover from a renovation, with a little triangular wedge of space behind cheap plywood. She slipped inside, sat on a tangle of winter coats, and dialed. When the dispatcher answered, the freshman whispered and tried to keep her breath silent. The door to the apartment opened. She heard slow steps, then the scrape of a kitchen drawer opening. She described the floor plan in a cracking voice to a woman who asked gentle, repeated questions. "Do you have anything that can lock? Can you stay absolutely quiet? I want you to put your hand over your mouth when I say now. I will count you through your breaths." The phone went black. At the same moment, the footsteps reached the hall. She placed it on the floor and made herself into a small animal. The closet door opened. There is a special kind of silence when a predator is in the room. You can feel the air change temperature. She counted in her head. The person stood so close she could see a sliver of light through the crack between the false wall and the plaster. A shoe toe nudged the coats. Then, at the end of the hall, there was a thunder of fists on the front door and a voice calling her name with authority. The intruder bolted. The police would later say the lock had been picked. The back door left ajar for a quick exit. A neighbor had noticed the same stranger the previous week, lingering in the stairwell at odd hours. The freshman moved apartments. She installed a peephole camera, and she learned the simple, brutal truth that grown-ups often forget: doors are not magic. Locks are not force fields. You are your own first line of defense until help arrives. The midnight knock, that was not a knock. A young mother nursed her baby on a winter night while the wind blew grit against the windows. At 12:27 a.m., someone banged on the front door so loudly the picture frames jittered. Another bang, then a voice, "I need help, please." She reached for the porch light and flicked it on. Her doorbell camera app, a habit she had rolled her eyes at when her partner installed it, showed a frame of a person bent over, face hidden by a hood. Something about the angle felt staged. She called out through the door, "I am calling the police." The person straightened and stepped back into a dark corner off camera. When the mother asked again if they needed help, the voice moved to the side of the porch, out of sight. Her dog began a low, steady growl she had never heard before. She dialed, described the situation, and stayed on the line. The dispatcher told her to turn lights on in every room. Visibility can be a deterrent. The mother paced, flipping switches, and the house became a lighthouse in miniature. 3 minutes later, motion triggered the side yard camera. Two shapes slid along the fence line toward the backyard. The dispatcher's tone changed. "Stay in a room without windows," she said. "Do not engage. Officers are en route." The mother locked herself and her baby in the bathroom, sat on the tile, and felt the small weight of her child's life against her chest. She heard the back gate creak, then the specific sound of someone testing a sliding door, a finger under a latch. Sirens rose nearby. The shapes melted into the night. Officers found footprints below the windowsill and glove prints on the glass. The mother stared at those smeared ovals and realized that the horror was not the knock. The horror was the patience. Someone had counted on empathy opening a door. There is a chill in learning that your kindness can be a tool used against you. What do these stories have in common? None of them end with a triumphant speech. They end with a door relocked, a route altered, a habit changed, a light left on, a whistle kept close. True horror, the kind that leaves fingerprints on your routines, reminds us that the world is not neatly divided into safe and unsafe. It is a place of thresholds. Attic hatches, elevator doors, closet walls, hallway shadows, key cards. You pass them every day. Most nights, nothing waits on the other side. On some nights, something does. So do the simple things that real survivors do. Trust the shift in your gut. Vary your patterns. Check the latch twice. Name what is wrong. And when needed, make noise. Fear can shrink you, or it can sharpen you. May these stories make you sharper. If you are listening to this in the dark, here is your friendly end of episode ritual. Look at the nearest door. See the hinges. See the lock. You are here, breathing, and you are paying attention. That is not paranoia. That is a skill. And in the moments that matter, it is the one that keeps you alive.